Cool, thanks. So we're recording in progress. I just think it's really important for some of these, so for some of these calls, especially the one last week when we did the comparative market analysis, I wish I did record that call. And again, so you guys are clear, I do record from time to time. The reason I don't record is participation. The essence of what we're doing here on Wisdom Wednesday is really to get the community of agents together on a weekly basis in a safe place where you can ask a question and you're not going to feel either embarrassed or ridiculed or you should have known that question. I do find when I record calls, I don't get as much volunteering of questions or comments the same way when we're recording. So I hope that doesn't happen today, but it's important that that we do make notes and you guys are being informed. So I will record from time to time. I got a few technical things on this call that I think after the call, I'll send the recording out to the group, to the offices. So everybody's just aware of some of these very important points that have come up over the last week that I think everybody will benefit. So this is, I've just kind of copied this was the agenda that I wanted to go through today really quickly. We started talking about coming soon signs and the policies there. There's a bit of lack of clarity for good reasons, because I don't think, as we know, this was communicated at the beginning of the year, and they just recently kind of clarified that and when it comes into effect. So we're gonna chat a little bit about that. We did last Friday have the BREB meeting where we were talking about merging with TRREB, so we're gonna touch on that. Market stats, prices going up, less inventory, we're gonna want to discuss on that. And then so this is our, I'm not gonna go through all these right now, but this is what we're touching on. I do want to start off our meeting with just a bit of recognition for the Orangeville office. Congratulations, Michelle, for the month of April. These are deals written. So if they were written either like an offer representing a buyer or a listing there written that, and that was actually accepted, this would go into that April category of deals written. So congratulations to Michelle Skoski, #1 in the Orangeville office. Leslie, #2, congratulations, and Kyle Shuchek, #3. So 3 big powerhouses. And I know what's fascinating, this isn't just these 3 individuals, they're pumping out big deals. These aren't just like they did 1 or 2 deals. No, these 3, I know, I'm watching. Even Mom and I were chatting about before the call. You know, Leslie's got another 3 listings hitting the market in the last week. So congratulations to these 3. This is a big category here. We're happy to see that. And then for Brampton, congratulations, Aaron Darmanin, Dennis Oldo, and Lydia Robertson. Lydia was in the office today. Trevor, I need an office space. I'm getting back into the zone. You know, business is picking up. Absolutely it is. So we're excited to see her come back. Dennis Soldo, I'm really super proud of his efforts here. I don't think he's been on this list before, so this is an important group to get that recognition. He's been working really hard with Darren over the last few months, so that those results are paying off, and they're yeah, I'm really proud of him. And of course, Aaron getting his mindset straight, had a little bit of a quiet, I would say, end of 2022, as he should, as he's focused with family, refocusing with his marketing efforts, and he's coming out strong again. So really happy with Aaron. And then in the Orangeville office, the Mayor Harmon team in the #1 position. Congratulations to you guys as well. They're always kicking butt. And I shouldn't just like, oh yeah, there they are, #1 again. No, here they are, #1 again. Brad and Jason just really fierce with their marketing efforts. They really do have an ideal real estate business happening with their farm, with their sphere of influence. We're really proud of them. I went through this slide last week, and you know something, if you heard it, I want to make sure you hear it again. I want to be redundant on this, and I do want to let people know this is your business. If I could say one of the greatest ideas that I came up with as far as visually laying something out, this would be it. You know, it's not my total listing kit, it's not the social media platform, it's not the content lounge, it's right here, guys. this is your business. And again, let me just walk through, because I am recording this. I just want people who are seeing this again. What's the vision with your business of real estate? It is to focus on your database. 90% of our business comes from that sphere of influence. People that know you, they like you, they trust you. When you have those 50, 100, 200 people that okay, these are advocates. These are people, if they were going to sell their house, they would use me. These are people that would say, hey, I know someone who's interested in buying something, Trevor. I want them to work with you. That is what you're looking for to put in your database. Not a suspect, not someone that came through your open house and they gave you a fake name and number. Those aren't my database, right? It is the people that know me, like me, and they trust me with their real estate transactions. What am I doing with them every single month once I've identified who those people are? Guys, we're in the business of real estate. We got to treat it like a business. We need to be sending them newsletters. We need to be sending them communications. We need to market to these individuals. We do this by various ways. We have a system, and the top teams in our company, the top agents in our company are conscious of what they're doing to those advocates, sending them any one of these, if not all of these marketing initiatives. And how are they doing that? How are they delivering those newsletters? They're using CRM systems, which are marketing pieces. So whether it be KidsPack and through the newsletter, whether it be Brian Buffini's system, whether it be Chris Leader's, they're using some sort of management tool to communicate to their advocates. Once you have, this is step one. It's the first session I teach of the 8 sessions at Century 21 with new agents. It's the step number one. And this is actually the one that most people try to skip over. And I do have agents in the business for 20 plus years who still don't have this, which is frustrating. But this is your business of real estate. If you want to be working less as time goes on, you'll focus in this way. But once you've got that database done, then you can start doing outside of your sphere of influence marketing activities like farming. When you get a person from your door knocking, they come into your database, they then go through that marketing plan as you see down below. That is the design of a business, of an ideal business for a realtor. Then you can start peppering in, again, outside of your sphere of influence, different marketing initiatives. Again, the goal is when you start in the business of real estate, you got to spend a ton of time, you got to spend a ton of money. And if you got into this business, you got your license, and you're not spending any money on your marketing, that is a very frustrating thing to hear after you spend all that time, money, and focus to get your real estate license. It's really a wasted opportunity that you're not going to your sphere of influence and asking, could I be your realtor? That requires time. It does require money, because trust isn't given, it is earned. And we earn our trust through the marketing initiatives that we stay so consistently with. That is the vision of marketing within the business of real estate. Year one, you're spending lots of money, lots of time. Within a period of time, whether it be 10 years, 20 years, etc., it should be getting easier if you're doing these marketing initiatives correctly and you're revisiting them. Sometimes you try an initiative and it doesn't work, you fall flat on your face. Okay, we're not gonna try that again, we go back. It's okay to learn, it's okay to be wrong. It's not okay to stand still and do nothing and wait with your hands in your pockets for the deals to come to you. That's not running a business. I don't know what that is. That's a pastime. Okay, so we got that on recording, so everybody can. Trevor told us that great idea, so it's there. Okay, I just wanted to share that with you. Any questions on that? Any disagreements? Don't bother. This is being recorded. I'm teasing. I do want to share a video real quick. And let me just stop stop sharing here. I want to make sure I share it and get optimal optimal audio and video. Stand by. Share the sound and optimize video. Great. Got it. Okay, so guys, this is a really quick video. It's a total of 8 minutes. I'm only playing about halfway through. I posted this on the Facebook group. And again, now I've got it in my recording. I'm really happy. We are seeing right now, we'll talk a little bit more about it, but we are seeing an increase in RICO complaints and then inquiries from the brokerage regarding advertisements representation from a realtor onto their, not just flyers, business cards, for sales signs, not just there, it's actually the increases on social media right now. And I just want to play, I recorded this, I was going through my NCE credits here, and it was just like, oh, this needs to be communicated. I want people to ensure they're really super clear on the guidelines, for a couple reasons. Number one, you do not want to get a RICO complaint on this. Anybody who's ever had a RICO complaint, it tears up your mind as far as distracting you from your business, which is focus is our number one challenge in this business. Also, you could get the fines, you could have to take courses again, and then as well, your brokerage is equally as responsible and accountable to these as well too. If you hear me saying, hey, you need to represent yourself as a Century 21 Millennium agent on that page, on that communication, it's not for my ego and it's not for my brand recognition, although that's a benefit, it sincerely is not. Okay, what it is when you, or if you get a complaint and you are found, as an infraction there, we will share in that that fee and that expense. And I frankly am not in the business of just paying for fees out of negligence or willful unawareness, if that's a term. So let me just play this video, and it kind of just clarifies the expectation that RICO has on us. Not my rule, not Joanne's, not RICO has these guidelines. So let me just play that, and we'll stop listening to me chat for a bit.
The minimum advertising requirements in REB 2002 are brokerage name, brokerage description, and when advertising an individual registrant, the registrant's name and description. All aspects of trading in real estate, including advertising, are done on behalf of the brokerage. Therefore, as a first step, all ads must clearly and prominently display the brokerage's name, as registered with RICO, and an approved brokerage description. Permitted descriptions are brokerage or real estate brokerage or the French language equivalents. Refer to the course resources for a guide to advertising. What does clear and prominent mean? All required information must be large and obvious enough to be read or understood. By passively viewing or hearing the ad, a person should be able to determine all minimum requirements. If the brokerage name on a salesperson's webpage is too small or is placed at the end of several page scrolls, they may be found to have breached the clear and prominent rule, as active searching, scrolling, or zooming is required. A leading practice would be to use the same or similar font size for all minimum requirements. If you are advertising as an individual registrant, this means that your name, as registered with RICO, and description should be the same size font as the brokerage name and description. Font style and size should be legible for anyone viewing the ad from a reasonable distance. Review these examples. If your ad is a billboard on the highway, someone driving at normal speed for that road should be able to read all minimum requirements, which should be in the same or a similar font size. If your ad is a bus wrapper, a person walking on the sidewalk should be able to read the minimum requirements on the bus as it drives by. For business cards, all minimum requirements should be legible to a person holding it in their hand. For websites, it is advisable to use consistent frames or persistent headers, such as the one on screen, containing all minimum requirements in the same or similar size font. Placed at the top of the homepage, they can help satisfy compliance requirements as they persist across all pages of a website. Ads for individual registrants must display the brokerage name and description clearly and prominently. The registrant's name as registered with RICO and an approved description should then be added. Approved descriptions for individual registrants are salesperson, real estate salesperson, sales representative, real estate sales representative, or the French language equivalents. Brokers can use broker, real estate broker, or the French language equivalents. As a broker or salesperson, you must fulfill these 4 requirements, 2 for the brokerage and 2 for yourself. Remember that it is a leading practice to use the same or similar font size for all minimum requirements. Refer to the course resources for a guide to advertising. RICO has a review process in place to help you maintain advertising compliance. RICO can review advertising before it's released, if requested by your broker of record. This is a courtesy review and not a formal authorization. The process for submitting registrant to registrant advertising complaints has changed at RICO. Advertising complaints cannot be anonymous. While consumers can submit their complaints directly to RICO, registrants can only do so through their broker of record. The broker of record must complete the complaint form and attach the ad in question, plus any other evidence of noncompliance. Refer to the course resources for a guide to advertising. There are several tools available on MyWeb and the RICO website that explain and clarify advertising compliance requirements. RICO's advertising guidelines and the advertising checklist outline requirements, restrictions, and prohibitions contained in REBA 2002. They are valuable tools for planning, designing, and verifying compliance in all your advertising materials. Advertising sold properties is a common way of promoting your services. RICO addresses what you...
I'm going to stop you here. That really was the message that I was going for. One of the things that, and I bring this up not out of the blue, we are seeing RICO complaints for other items that are coming up, and agents' social media is coming under review now. And I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know how far it's going to go, but we are noticing it on multiple complaints, and we are involved with right now. And I would, not that it gives me comfort, but across the board, everybody is not compliant. Most people are not compliant with the RICO advertising guidelines. The problem is, as we start seeing, we are seeing a ramp up of RICO complaints and a ramp up of reach that RICO is coming at after the brokerage for details behind the scenes, asking for various things that we've never seen before. And we're seeing bigger fines, and they're actually being executed right now. As they increase those fines and as they collect those fines, they will be hiring more personnel. And the biggest complaint we hear with most bureaucracies is there's not enough enforcement of their rules, whether they are, in kind to consider for the consumer or for other agents and then the brokerages. We suspect that there's going to be a ramp up here, and I don't want to be exposed as a brokerage, and I don't want you to be exposed as the agent as well too. So it's a very simple fix. Recognize that of course you've got your name and your position. I do see agents that are not identifying realtor, salesperson, or broker, right? And again, you can go back to what you can choose and what you can't choose. And then more importantly, I do see no mention of the brokers that you're working with, or extremely small or nowhere to be found. Okay, I've lived with that. That's not a problem that we have whatsoever. We want to edify your individual brand. But RICO, this is something that they're going to be identifying, and we're seeing it in multiple areas. And that's all I really can say about that, but I'm bringing it up for very, very good reason.
And Trevor, I would like to add to that, because it has been, last week and this week has been a week of complaints and legal issues. And I have noticed a trend now with before, if a consumer places a complaint against you, a compliance officer would reach out, ask you for a statement, ask the office to send the complete file. If they didn't feel it was a serious one, they would just say, we're going to send you what they call a wait and see letter. And basically, unless the consumer came back to complain again, within 6 months to a year, if they didn't hear anything on that file, they would just send us an email to say this file has been closed. Now I am seeing the same type of a complaint come in, but instead of going through that process, I get a letter now saying that you are going before a RICO. This is not board level. This is, you're now going before a RICO disciplinary panel committee. And I've had the awful pleasure of sitting in on one of those for 4 days in a row. It was like Supreme Court. over a multiple handling of a multiple offer. So they're taking it much more seriously. And then, as Trevor's referring to, while they've got your file and start checking you out, they will go and do the things he's just brought up here. Where's your brokerage? You're not Joanne Evans Real Estate. Where's your brokerage? It's not identified here. So now they have the opportunity to pepper in a few more fines, which of course pays for all the staff. But you need to be aware of that. It certainly seems to be, and in our industry, you know, I think we've got the best people in the world in this office. But within our industry, there certainly are agents that need to be taken to task on some of their practices. But we always like to just keep you informed to make sure that we are minimizing that liability for you and the company.
Great. That was a really exciting topic. I'm glad we got that out.
I know, but it's real.
There we go. Joanne mentioned multiple representation, multiple offers there. One of the cases we're working on last week. They're fun. One thing that happened, I won't get into the details of it, but I got to bring it up because I've never seen it. We had an agent, he's on the call. I'm going to say it's one of Stefan's listings that he had. And he's like, oh, what are you going to say? I'm going to tell this story very carefully because it's fascinating. I'm like, wait a second, I've never even heard of this happening before. I got a call and I ended up, I tried mom first and she didn't pick up. That's okay, mom, I forgive you. That's what our agents are feeling like. And I called Shazad and Shazad's like, I've never heard of that before. And then finally got on the phone with mom and she's like, I've never heard of that before. So here's what happened.
A new one.
Devin had he had a listing presentation for his beautiful home up for sale. He had 6 offers. And throughout the night, comes down to the final 2 leading offers. It was the same buyer, represented by 2 different agents.
From 2 different brokerages.
Right. One was from ABC Realtor, the other one was an XYZ Realtor. 2 different brokerages representing the same 2 buyers, and the offers were almost identical. One was at one price and the other was $1,000 greater. But we're like, wait, what's happening here? How could this happen? And I bring this story up for a few lessons. Number one, make sure you have your buyers in a buyer representation agreement and they initial off, of course, I'm not working with any other buyers. Okay. Number 2, don't do it the night you're doing the offer. You know, I know some agents do that. They'll work with a buyer and then they do an offer, and that's when I got my buyer representation agreement done and complete. Hold on a second. There's a lot they're signing there, and there is an active defense for them to say there was a lot going on there. I wasn't clear that I was signing another buyer representation agreement and that I was in another one. So you've exposed yourself, not communicating in a clear way. Even if you could defend that, you don't want to be exposing yourself to these risks. Okay, so that would be kind of the first message there. But the question that we were pressed with, and that we're going through, that can we communicate to both of those agents, hey, you're representing a buyer that is being represented by somebody else in this offer presentation. I want to throw that out there. How would you guys think about how to handle that? I'm going to put Teodora under the bus here, or put her in the hot seat. Teo, how would you handle that? Like, what would you think? And by the way, I'm not 100% sure on the answer still at this moment, but our strategy afterwards was interesting to kind of flesh that out. But how would you handle that, Teo?
Wow, that's a good one. How could that happen?
That's what we were just asking. Like, how could this happen? Why could this happen? Stefan wants to make a comment here. Go ahead, Stefan.
Remember, so oddly enough, one agent, the name was one way, and the other agent, the name was reversed.
Right, meaning, you know, in one offer is written Stefan, Jeremy, Groff, And in the other offer, it was written Groff, Jeremy, Stefan. Like how it was just
Yeah.
legal versus
Yeah.
regular. But Tio, how would you handle that? What's your thoughts on that?
That's a tough one. So what would I do at the offer presentation, right?
Yeah.
I'm faced with that.
The question that we were struggling with.
Call Trevor.
Yeah. Just that.
I'll
She's
just
like, I'm
ask-
going to call you. What are you talking about?
What do you mean, call mom?
Call mom first, and then Shazad in second place.
Okay, so what was the question?
So
Okay,
the question is, the question is, would you disclose to each of the agents, hey, you're representing a buyer that's being represented by another agent?
Think of the,
how do you, first of all, how do you prove that it is exactly one and the same?
Yeah,
Right?
Great question. Great question.
So you just put me on the spot. I wouldn't disclose.
You would not?
Trevor,
good. Right answer.
Okay, Parth, what do you think, Parth? What are your thoughts?
I don't know what I would do, but matter of fact, this happened with me 4 years ago on a lease. So these guys were new to the country, and it was obvious because there was no way they're two different people because the documents sent were all same. And I had done my best to explain them that, before getting the BRA signed, that this is what you're getting into and all of that. But turns out they were real idiots, obviously. So the agent called me to say, hey, you know what? These guys have been represented by another agent, and we got the same offer from two different agents for the same person. And at that time, it was very easy to walk away from the situation because who wants to deal with these idiots anymore, right? So I moved on, and I don't know what happened after to them or with that situation. But yes, interestingly, this has happened with me on like 4 or 5 years ago on a lease. Can you believe that? Like on a lease,
Wow.
they hired two agents, wasted two different people's time to get what, maybe a condo in Don Mills. I don't even remember. So yeah, this did happen. But the agent was upfront. She just called me and she said, look, this is what, so. And it was very easy for me to walk away from that out.
Keep in mind, Parth, I mean, I know you use that language, idiot, which is kind of, you're being cute there. That's all. But like,
I wanted to use assholes, but because you're recording, I just use
we're
idiots.
recording. No, appreciate that.
So-
Appreciate your candor. No, but again, we are held to a different standard, right? So that newcomer to say the country, or look, the last time that they purchased, or maybe they've never purchased a house, they're new to everything. They're just not informed. We are held to that account. We are held to different standards. Was there someone that wanted to make a comment on? It says iPhone. I don't know who it was, but was it?
Trevor, can I say something?
Yes, Aman. Yes, please. Yeah.
So I agree with Theodora because it could just be a coincidence that names are same. We don't want to go into identifying who is who. I mean, there's so many Aman Kapoors in real estate alone, right?
Yeah.
So I would just leave it, not bother anybody about it, and go ahead with the best offer. I think that's
the challenge. Actually, at one point though, Aman, we're not giving all the details, but at one point the offers were identical.
Yeah.
So you're competing, and they were the leading offer. So you're competing. Okay, send them both back to improve on it, right? They're competing against each other themselves.
But you're working for your seller.
Right. Yeah. So go ahead, Joanne.
No, Trevor, again, then there's a couple of reasons why you can't disclose. One would be the rules are you're not supposed to disclose any information about any offer to another agent. And then, of course, where that totally gets covered over by the Privacy Act. So the bunch of little detectives that were on the call coming up with the strategy for Stefan had to come up with a different solution. So Trevor, you get full credit for that one.
No, but it was an interesting point to make because there are buyers out there that are doing everything they can to make sure they get the property, right? And you can't call malice and evilness what they're doing. They may just not be sure. And we don't have all the information. We represent fiduciary interests of the seller, as Aman stated. You don't know, is the spelling identical? Is it indeed the identical person? Just for the record, we do know for sure it was the same two people. They were not, how do I say this? The names were very unique individually and how they were laid out. So we were, no, we're 99% sure, but regardless, is there a scenario and a good reason why they're being represented? There could be. And we don't know what the deal is on the buyer's side to represent that or to disclose anything there. So ultimately, we will say both of those, because it was a 72-hour irrevocable Stefan requested from his client. Both of those the very next day ended up pulling out of the offer and retracted their offers, which, oh my gosh, all he's got to do is sign off on that, accepting that offer, and you've got a legal case on your hands there against that buyer and that buyer. Like, what a mess that was, right? Go ahead.
And it was a different excuse from each agent as to why their buyer wants out.
And that was exactly my point. How, in spite of representing your seller clients in this case, how reliable are these people who are using two different agents for the same offer? I won't trust on what they would do next. Maybe you won't get your deposit check, and yes, you have a case, but as an agent, I don't want to build a case. I want to close the deal, right? So I wouldn't worry about what's right and what's wrong at that point. I would worry more about how best can I get an offer accepted that's going to close, right? Not following up and chasing the agent for the deposit, right? So it's not a situation that I would enjoy personally.
Yeah, and look, I think there are times where we're really clear as agents what we need to do, and probably 99% of the time, you guys got this. And then there's that 1% where you're like, I'm not sure about this one. I know as a new agent, I was calling Joanne and Shazad every time I had a situation. It was constant. And it still happens, but less frequently. But know that your team is here to answer these questions. And we're not supposed to know everything either. Sometimes it's like problem solving and judgment calls in that special scenario as well too. So we're here for you, is my point. If you're not sure, we would rather you call us at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock that night than to have to deal with the RICO case on something that improperly was handled by you in that multiple representation scenario. So that's the message there.
Hey, Trevor, just quick question. It's Alejandro here.
Yeah.
As you were just describing that, the whole time I was just wondering or thinking about what is the risk to my seller if I were to accept one of the offers. And I think you were mentioning that there were some legal ramifications there, given the fact that we knew that it was the same person making that offer, or?
Yeah, so
just elaborate.
So as Mom said, like, look, when it comes to handling multiple offers, you're required two things here. You're not allowed to divulge the content of that offer to anybody else. Okay, so that's a standalone comment and rule that we go by. Content includes identity of the offer. Okay, so there's that rule that we run by. The second one is the Privacy Act, which again reiterates we are not to disclose the identity of an individual who is involved on that transaction. So there's two competing, like, we can't divulge. You really shouldn't be divulging the details of that to the buyer agent. And there's so much you don't know. I said 99% sure that it's the same people. There's a possibility I'm wrong. There's a possibility they're in coordination. There's so much I don't know, right? So onus, responsibility, protection is on the buyer who has representation of that with their agency. If your scenario, say we accepted one of those offers, everything could be fine for all we know. I see a comment there, Darren Scott. What about FinTrack? Calm down. He always has to throw another wrench in the scenario. I appreciate that, Darren.
Go, Darren.
But you know, if that offer is accepted, signed, they bring the offer. Okay, we don't know. There's so much we don't know. We do know that. Okay, we've got an offer, top dollar, great deposit, fantastic deposit. Contract law then kicks in. Yeah, but did you know that this, that, and the other? Yes or no? It wouldn't matter. I don't know the details of their contract with that agent. There's so many unknowns there, right?
And ultimately, you know, for all of you listening here, because a lot of times you get very controlling with your clients. I don't want you to accept this offer. I think you should accept this offer. You always have to be very, very cautious. You present the situation to your seller because they have a right to see everything in all offers. You know, I don't like what I'm seeing here. I am concerned, will we get, sometimes with this behavior, will we get our deposit? But the seller may be saying to you, I really like this offer. It's the right price. And I'll take a chance on getting that juicy, you know, $100,000 deposit. I want that offer. It's not your decision. It is your job to advise and bring forward all of the complications and concerns that you have. But you must leave that decision to the seller. In all complaints and legal cases over the years, you really get nailed as a realtor if your seller said, well, they kept telling me I should take this or I should do this. That's an absolute no-no. Like, it always has to go. You tell them all the pitfalls, their decision at all times.
But Joanne, I know there are limitations on, you know, how much we can ask, but in a situation like this, I would probably ask for a photo ID from both agents, just to be sure. I could ask. I know there are limitations, and am I supposed to do that? Maybe not, but given the situation, I would.
Yeah, between the seller's agent and the buyer agent, trust me, we came up with strategy of many different questions and ways, which really you know, it brought the truth forward, but we had to be careful. And, you know, especially when we're advising you, when it's a situation, my God, you know, 30 something years in real estate, I haven't had that one. So you always have to think of all the regulations you're, you know, regulated by before you put forth a strategy. But yes, there's always probing questions to help you along the path.
Joanne, sorry, funny, we could ask for a in-person presentation. How would you?
Yeah. Bring your client to the office.
You know, there's a rabbit hole of scenarios that start to, you know, is there any fraudulent activities going on there, right? So, you know, when there's fraud, as Darren brought up there, how does that impact with FinTrack, of course, as well too? Do you suspect any, you know, reasons for fraud here? This could be something that you might report on. Very complicated scenario, and again, in the moment, reach out to your manager to problem solve through that. You guys have a great big target on your back, and that, if anything, the theme for today is not to scare anybody, but we need to let you guys know anybody can sue and file a complaint for any reasons, and then you've got to react to it. We are in the business, of course, of proactively putting ourselves in a position of risk, and that's part of running a business. But we also should be very conscious. We are actually, if it's possible to avoid it, not to sound timid, and it's not. It's actually intelligent. If you are doing your paperwork properly, you're following the rules to a T, you're limiting your risks, and that's part of what this message is today. We want to make sure you guys are informed, and that we're communicating that to you.
Trevor, it's Abdul.
Abdul, yes, hello.
Yeah, with the name, similar name, the other red flag we can see is from the address. If we see the same name is belongs to the same address, then we can see like they are the same clients.
Yeah, Abdul, there's some digging around, some private investigating actions you can do, and I like that idea, Abdul. Thank you very much. Sorry, I want to get back to my agenda here. Bear with me. Where's my agenda at? Oh my God, we're on point number 2. See, we do this a lot. We go off, but it's important. The Brampton Real Estate Board meeting last week, although I know this could be a long conversation with lots of commentary, it was voted on. Brampton Real Estate Board will merge into the Toronto Real Estate Board, and that will happen as of July 1st of this year, so it's happening fairly quick. One of the reasons why this is primarily happening, I think, from a cost perspective, which I'm grateful for, there will be a reduction. I believe it's around $600 per year from that you will save if you are a Brampton Real Estate Board member right now. In your next full year, you'll be paying essentially $600 less. In that, we are still going to be having representation in the Toronto Real Estate Board by the region of Peel, so that is Mississauga, Brampton, and Caledon. And boy, there's a heck of a lot more details on that. I just wanted to make the note that this will be happening, and for good or for worse, that's the path that BREB is going to be moving towards. Okay. And if you want to know more about that, you can, of course, reach out to myself, or you can reach out to your board for the further details. They're attempting to do a good job of communicating, which is always the biggest challenge for any organization or any changes. The communication usually is either successful or unsuccessful because of that communication. So they're getting there, and we're giving them some leeway, of course. Because it is a big change and it's a big moving bus. So that's that. I'm going to skip over market stats for purpose of our time. You guys, we posted that on the Facebook group there. The one thing I will mention on the market stats, in Brampton, we are sitting just under 1 month of inventory, approximately 600 homes sold in April with active listings of 600 homes. So we're actually under 1 month of inventory. I don't think, however you want to interpret that, you can, but typically, if I'm going by recollection, in the month of April, active listings for the last few years, they range, but in a normal market, I would suspect anywhere as low as, say, 900 active listings in the month of April. I've seen them as high as I recall, because probably up to 1,300 homes. So like that's kind of like prime time spring market numbers there. So and I can get you that, but we are low on inventory right now. And again, you can dive into that, knowing this information as you're sitting across the table from somebody as a seller or even as a buyer, and interpreting and understanding where the market is. That's why this is indeed important as far as discussion points. I did mention these, brought these up with regards to the last situation with Stefan, which I wasn't even sure I was going to put on the agenda. But one question that was asked of me in the last week was from an agent. Let me see if I can pull up my so if there is a property that is, and I'm going off a little tangent here, it has nothing to do with the last point, except to say this came up, and I just wanted people to know, if you're purchasing a property yourself, and it's not listed on the real estate market on the MLS or exclusive, you just happen to know that person, you want to sell the house, you can do that. It is done through this form, the seller customer service agreement, and on this singular form, of course, the details of the purchaser and the buyer are all in here. And this is where, if you're going to request a commission there, if it's 0%, you would put 0% there. You do not need Form 320 as an active instruction for financials of commission to the salesperson, which would be you. So this is the form that you're using if you're purchasing a property that is not on market and you are not representing them as fiduciary interest. They are then representing as a customer, which will all change as TRREB rolls out and they figure out what their timelines are. If you are an agent, of course, you need to disclose through Form 160, I believe. So when you're purchasing, acquiring a property, it's the disposition of acquisition, I believe it's called. I think it's Form 160. If you are purchasing, you have to acknowledge that you are a salesperson. So I just wanted to make that note. The other note that I had here, multiple representations. When two agents, this was interesting actually. That was the answer, but the question that we had was, hey Trevor, I have an offer presentation. I have 6 offers. 2 of the offers are coming from the same brokerage. That is technically multiple representation with the buyers. So consent to multiple representation is required. Of course, you know, when a brokerage is representing both the buyer and the seller, so that maybe you're double ending the deal and you want to represent both the seller, which you already have the listing for. And then of course, a buyer comes to your door and says, hey, I'll put in an offer, I'll work with you. Okay, well, that's multiple representation. We know on Form 320 on page 2 to have them both initial that they're under multiple representation. Whether it's a client and once a customer, doesn't matter. They're both being represented by the same brokerage in some capacity, client or customer. But this one comes up, I don't want to say rarely, it does come up, but when a brokerage that you're actually is coming to you and they don't know, but they are in multiple representation, it's you are required to communicate to each of the agent, hey, just heads up, you have one of your colleagues is representing a buyer in your office, you're in multiple representation in that regard. And the question is, do we need to have the initial multiple representation signed off by those specific buyers? The answer is yes, we do require that. That is multiple representation on the buyer's side. So that did come up this week, and I would think that does come up from time to time.
Yeah, and Trevor, you know, I think the manager on the other side for that company actually got into a little bit of a debate saying, no, that's not multiple representation. Well, again, if you're ever questioning these things, these RICO bulletins are there and available for you to review. And this is the registrar's bulletin right here. And of course, it is the listing agent who gets to be aware, oh, I got 2 agents from the same brokerage over there with buyers. And that is multiple representation. So you hate to have to correct another manager or broker from another company, but you've still got to do the right thing. So
yeah, consent is required. They need to initial that in that scenario, as it states right there. So that's something that does pop up. We got 7 minutes left. I do want to, I'll just the quick ones here. Realtor Quest is next week, May 17th and the 18th. That looks like it's going to be a pretty active show. I'm going to pop over there from time to time myself to go take a look at that. So that should be good. Teal, you did an amazing social media post regarding the content lounge for Mother's Day in the Orangeville office. It looks fabulous up there, and you did a wonderful video kind of chatting about that. You know, this is a busy weekend for Mother's Day. Acknowledge, recognize. Again, another great opportunity to get in front, be top of mind with your clients. So really appreciate you posting that. And then the other thing, you know, Alejandro was mentioning, him and Ryan did that a local market in their farm area. I do want to, and then I'll chat about Parth's experience as well too. So you guys probably had, Alejandro, you guys had the event. It was in one of the schools. You went in there. There were several different vendors. As a realtor, you probably came across at least, you probably got about 50 names outside of your sphere of influence, but in that function?
We did, yes. We got at least 51 to 55 contacts total out of that initiative. There was, we had a number of giveaways to attract people to our booth. We started off with balloons for the kids. All the kids wanted to come over, hence engage the parents, get them to sign up for a free pizza party giveaway that we had everybody sign up for as a giveaway. And we also had people sign up for our newsletter. So if they provided us with the mailing address, they're added to our database for kits and they'll get our newsletter on a monthly basis. So that was kind of our strategy to get people to come in. There was definitely hundreds of people that ran through that market. And I think it was successful in the sense that we've got a lot new contacts to work with and market to.
Good. Well, I mean, but what I want to acknowledge about what you're doing there, and you and Ryan are working together there now. Ryan's got a marketing system. He's got his database, exactly what I was referring to, and they have their marketing system. There's a newsletter that you can sign up for. He's got other functions as well too. They are running a sophisticated business so that now they can go out and do farming or other community events that when they get 50 names, they'll qualify them and then put them into that database or put them into that marketing piece. That's the goal. We don't start, my point is we don't start and just walk into an event with no systems in place to communicate, to be top of mind with these people. I just want to acknowledge that. And then the second thing, as far as the advertising we're doing before the actual event, that's where it was really important as well too. Within that community, in that farm area, they were going door to door to door to door to door to door, communicating about that. That's where the magic is. Whether the event was successful or not, that his community in that farm area has a reason to come to the door. We have an event where there's a market going on this week. Come on out to it. Most of them didn't go, but they are seeing these two keen realtors coming to the door, actively being a part of the community for different reasons and whatever their pitch is. So I really like that. Parth, you posted on Facebook there, such a charming guy. You were standing in, I think you were standing in the BREB. Is that right?
That's right.
And how did that go?
Went well, actually. It's still going on. I have to go there and stand there for another 2 hours every day, Sunday. We went there to buy sofas for our home and happened to meet the manager. So whenever I go anywhere, I talk to 5 different people at the store, even at the hairdresser. Wherever you go, you just talk to people. So it's just my nature. It's just my nature. Yeah, it's just in me, right? So I happened to speak to the manager at the brick store. And then he mentioned that they have some tent sale that's going on next week or next month. We went in April, so it was in May. I said, I can't, man, because I'll be in Jamaica. So he goes, no, it goes on for like 2 weeks. I'm like, okay, so send me details. So he goes like, you have to pay such and such dollars, and then we'll set you up over there and you'll have a desk. And I said, okay, looks exciting. Rather than me going to different doors in the neighborhood and knocking on those, I think this is fun where people are walking to you. So it'll be nice. So, that happened, and we ended up, actually Sunita is also going on with me to the brick store now because I was not here. So she covered for me. And then she just said, I'll continue doing that because she probably enjoyed the process so much. And then we ended up meeting a bunch of people, but one particular lady that we met the other day, the same day we met her, we were at her home the same evening. We sat down for almost an hour, and we are probably going to get an active listing by end of this month. From that one activity, what I wanted to see is when we went to their place, they had 4 or 5 different agents magnets on their fridge. Sandy Kennedy was one of them. I don't know if I should be saying this on the recording, but then he took all of them out and put it in the recycle right in front of us, because they go, we just didn't know who to contact and what to say and who to connect. So you guys came off so well, so they couldn't hold themselves up, and then they just opened up. So the moral of the story, if you want to learn anything out of this, is guys, go out and show up. It's 2 hours every day. There's no rocket science. I'm not the most intelligent person out there, but I work really, really hard, and that's how things happen. So if you guys want to know the real secret of how you can get successful in this business, is just showing up to work every day, every single day, 2 hours. If you're not doing that, blame yourself. And that's my pep talk thing.
All right, that's a wonderful, wonderful story. I think you mentioned yesterday you've got a listing, and I think you've got another listing and then another buyer as well.
So the customer service that works at the brick, another lesson, don't underestimate anybody, guys. Like, just go and talk to any, you never know when your next sale is going to come from and where. So we were not soliciting the brick staff itself, out of which, by the way, one of them works there part-time with Home Life, right? And he's selling furniture at the brick, nothing wrong, but he couldn't talk to the customer service at his own organization, whereas we went in, and now the lady wants to sell her home, buy another one, and all that is happening on the side. So we might meet her after church this Sunday, right? And we'll get that going. So two good leads out of that $700 marketing, sure, like I would do it every year, right? That's all you got. And plus, you never know, more people will come in and all that will happen, but then you have to be on top of things, right? So, oh, one other thing, if I may.
If you're talking about work,
I'm sorry, I have to say this because you know what I did? 2 old ladies came to the store. One wanted to go use the washroom. I held the other one, and she is looking for a condo in Niagara Falls. She didn't know she came in to pee. And she's probably going to buy a condo in Niagara. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe myself I did that. But then I
well,
had
that
nothing
takes
else to
service
do.
to a whole new level.
Oh my God. Yeah, but I'm loving the brick experience, honestly.
Look,
The
I love
furniture.
hearing that story, Parth. Alejandro and Ryan, what you guys are doing as well too. I know there's so many stories like that, interactions, moments that you have. We are in the people business.
Yes.
Nobody is above us. Nobody is below us. And we are here to serve at all levels, but leadership, good leadership, which is what both these guys are showing here, and many of you do as well too. It is a serving position. It is not one of arrogance, ignorance, or ego. It is one that we are here to serve people, to get that roof over their head for their real estate needs. Guys, this was a great call. I'm glad I recorded it. I'm going to finish it up at 12:02. Thanks for your time. Please note, starting in the month of June, we will be going every other week for Wisdom Wednesdays. In July and August, we are not doing any Wisdom Wednesdays. We are still here, of course, for you. Questions, training, responses, of course, but this magical meeting, we will be taking a break for the month of July and August, as we do each year, for our office meetings and training. So guys, thanks for showing up today. Enjoy the week. And for those who are going to be on the bus tomorrow, can't wait. It's going to be a good one. All right, guys. Have a great week.
Have a great week, everyone.
Bye.